but our main discussion is the Royal Rumble. It takes place on January 27th, and there have been a number of people who have already declared their spots in the Royal Rumble, including Cody Rhodes, including Shinsuke Nakamura, Bianca Belair, and I believe Bobby Lashley. Who else? I'm thinking I'm missing somebody else. Either way, the Royal Rumble, one of the most exciting events in the WWE calendar, and with it, it is the beginning of the road to WrestleMania. There's a lot of speculation about surprise returns, winners, and eliminations. Let's just get the ball rolling. All right, guys, Royal Rumble. How about the favorites? Who do you think is going to win the Royal Rumble? Women's Royal Rumble, men's Royal Rumble. Where are we at? Who's winning this year?
Bailey and Punk.
Motherfuckers.
Bailey and Punk?
No,
I could see that.
Why do you think Bailey and Punk?
Punk just to create more disaster around Cody.
Pure chaos.
Just to fuck up Cody's life a little bit more.
Long-term burial.
This story just keeps getting worse before it gets better.
Death of 1,000 cuts. I love it.
And then I think Bailey deserves at least one Rumble win. I think this would be the year for her. She's creating. She
never won, huh? She never won.
No, and then with Damage Control and everything else going on, I think it would be a great way to finally break her back into being a face.
So what do you think happens with Bailey? Do you think she's going to get kicked out of Damage Control before the Rumble or after the Rumble? If she won,
it's going to be like when Batista won the Rumble, and he didn't know who he was going to go up against, and then more things lead to more things, and all of a sudden, here we are, Bailey versus Io.
That's a good prediction.
Would Damage Control still be a thing, you think, after that? Or do they stay stable?
I agree. I think it would be.
They all turn on Bailey.
Yeah, I just don't think Bailey would be in Damage Control. I think there's going to be a whole feud between Bailey and Damage Control. But that's what kind of tying back to what we talked about earlier about Sasha Banks. I think that would be a natural plug-in for her for this feud between Damage Control and Bailey and Sasha Banks because they're best friends. And having her feud with them, like SmackDown and Triple H, they've been focusing on Damage Control a lot. They've been the main event, the main segment, and a lot of it has been revolving around them. And this seems like an inevitable breakup. So I feel like it would make sense for Sasha Banks to show up in WWE. But yeah, AEW, more power to her. But I think it'd be more interesting for her to be in WWE with Bailey. But neither here nor there. All right, we got a Bailey prediction. We have a CM Punk prediction. Andres, Chris, where do you think this is heading in the Royal Rumble? Who do you think is winning?
Drew McIntyre.
Oh man, how's it going?
I think Drew McIntyre is being set up for a lot of losses right now, so he can win the Rumble. That's what I think. And then motherfuckers, they're just gonna show up from the dead. You're gonna have Chris Benoit. Yeah. You're going to have motherfuckers Doink obviously. The Clown.
All the dead guys.
All the dead guys. Undertaker.
Yeah. The real dead man.
Exactly. No, but I'm thinking Drew McIntyre. That's my take to win the men's Rumble.
And who does he face?
Does he have to choose by WrestleMania? He has to be
Yeah, I mean he's the Rumble winner. That's it's for
you gotta pick
Seth Rollins. I could see Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins. Okay, yeah. I mean I could see that. We talked about a little bit about potentially Stone Cold Steve Austin facing CM Punk, or maybe make it a triple threat. I feel like it's always assumed that it's pigeonholed into a 1 versus 1, but I don't see why they just can't expand it into a triple threat or a fatal 4-way because there are so many possibilities and people who can face them. But
McMahon in every corner.
A McMahon in every corner, exactly. WrestleMania 2000. What about for the women? Who do you think is winning the Women's Rumble?
I don't know. Probably Bailey. I could see Bailey winning.
David?
I said Bailey.
Oh, you said
Oh,
Bailey.
he said
You did
Bailey
say
as well.
Bailey.
Yeah.
Bailey's the universal winner, I guess.
Yeah, I would say
Shotgun Shoot
I lot of our
supports
team
Bailey.
feel for Bailey.
I mean, I think that's
Unless
the logical choice.
they could still do the whole breakup thing without Bailey, really. But I mean, she has to get for the title too. I don't know, because they might even surprise to throw Nia Jax to win.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about Nia Jax. Like, she's been having a feud with Becky Lynch. Like, I think that there's a potential. Charlotte Flair, I guess, is injured, so I guess she's out of the
Yeah, she's out for a
conversation.
while.
What about Jade Cargill? We haven't talked about Jade Cargill at all. She debuted. They kind of showed her. They showed her around like a new Mercedes Benz, essentially, in every single show. She was in backstage of Raw. She was on NXT. She was on SmackDown. What do you think happens with Jade Cargill?
I mean, she's a possibility. Come to
Yeah.
think of
I
it.
think she'll debut.
I
But
can see her showing up.
I don't see her getting the W.
Yeah, so I
don't
could see
think
her.
so?
I could see her in the maybe like the last 5 people in the Rumble. Like
She'll have a strong Rumble.
What was that?
She'll have a strong Rumble. She'll probably get like 8, 10 eliminations.
Yeah,
So do we
Either
agree
way.
that she's showing up at the Rumble? Do you think she's going to
Yeah.
be at the Rumble?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
I could see that.
Do you think other NXT superstars too would cross into, right? They usually do that, right? Like,
Well, what about what if Lyra Valkyria, the NXT Women's Champion, shows
Throw her
up?
ass over the rope.
Roxana Perez too.
Just quick squash.
Over the rope with you.
What do you? Okay, how about this? How about with the Rumble, like surprise entrances?
Oh,
What if
yes.
would Cena make an appearance?
No.
In the Women's Rumble?
Not the one, no, obviously not. But
Depends
in
on
the
what
actual,
movie he's
like,
in.
Yeah, let's talk surprise appearances. Who do you think is going to show up in the Men's Royal Rumble that no one is expecting
Doink the
in the
Clown.
3 spots? Doink the Clown, you think Doink the Clown is going to be a spot for the Royal Rumble? Out of the stack card, you think they're going to be like, yeah, Doink the Clown is
let's
is
throw
one.
Doink the Clown in
They
there.
gotta have one like legend character. Maybe they'll have Isaac Yankem or like Jim Duggan.
I don't think they had anybody like that last year, right? Like, I feel like everyone was basically like, yeah, you're supposed to be in the Rumble. Like, there was not that many surprises.
Yeah,
last year.
it feels like they're doing it a little bit less now. I don't know.
That was a big
Surprise one, like I said, would be who?
Yeah, who would you want to show up at the Rumble?
Booker T.
Booker T.
Did he show up last year?
I think that's when he said it was his last. I think after his appearance, so he said, "I'm done." Like that. That was my reminder to like, stay out of it. But
The
it'd be cool to
commentator,
see him come back.
producer.
Triple
Undertaker
H.
too. Undertaker, hell yeah! I mean, why
I
not?
don't know.
I don't think he
about
will,
Undertaker.
but I don't see why it wouldn't be a bad idea. But
Yeah.
it'd be weird to get eliminated too. Like, damn, like, well, what would he do though? Honestly, the Rumble, like, he can't exactly win because then he's gonna go to the main event. You know, like,
Yeah.
I think it
Yeah, like-
cheapens his character.
Booker T came
Yeah.
last year, not Booker T this year.
What percentage of the Royal Rumble participants do you think is going to be NXT up and comers?
10.
You think like 10 people from NXT?
Oh no, 10%. So like
Oh, 10%. Okay.
3.
it was just on the tip of my tongue.
Breaker.
We're just talking about
Braun Breaker. See, I feel like Braun Breaker is one of, like, we were talking about edging and stuff. Like, I feel like Braun Breaker is on the precipice of being on the main roster, but he's just not there yet. But I feel like 2024 is going to be his year to show up on Raw or SmackDown.
He's just finishing Steiner math, and then he'll be
Yeah.
on his way.
With all his peaks and freaks.
Peaks and freaks. And you know what? I'm looking at this roster right now. Beth Phoenix is still on the WWE roster. So I'm thinking like maybe Beth Phoenix will show up
Beth
on the
Copeland.
WWE Women's Royal Rumble.
that'd be interesting.
Yeah, Candice LeRae, Kathy Kelly. Why not some announcers or interviewers? Yeah, I feel like so we talked about winners. So we think most of us think Bailey is going to win. Is there another person you feel like in your predictions that can potentially win the Women's Royal Rumble?
Maybe
Out of
Becky Lynch.
The entire feud. Yeah, I could see Becky Lynch.
What about Asuka? How do you guys feel about Asuka winning?
Asuka, I feel like Asuka and Kairi Sane are going to stay as a package deal, and I think they're going to hold the tag team championships.
Asian
Same.
invasion.
Yeah, the
Kabuki
Asian
Warriors.
They were all stable
the
too. Back in
Kabuki
Japan,
Warriors. Yeah,
but no, even before that, Io Sky, Kairi Sane, and then Io Sky's sister were all. Which her sister actually visits the shows. She's backstage a lot. They were all stable back in the back when they wrestled in Japan together.
yeah.
So it's very possible they could bring back that stable and have Asuka there too.
I'm gonna go out of
But-
left field, and I feel like in the women's Royal Rumble, I think I can see an Indy Hartwell or an Ivy Nile winning the Royal Rumble and just having like a new person challenge and potentially win. And in terms of the Rumble, because you have two women's champions, is Rhea going to? I feel like Rhea will still be dominant, so I feel like maybe whoever wins is going to face Io and win at WrestleMania. Are we going? Let me back up. Do you feel like we're going to see a women's women's world championship and a WWE women's championship match at WrestleMania, or do you feel like one of them
we
is going
have
to get
to.
snubbed?
With both titles on the line?
Yeah, at WrestleMania.
With two Rumbles and then plus the other card matches.
Well,
that are on
so
there?
you have the men's and women's Rumble.
Yeah.
Right. And on both Raw and SmackDown, they both have their sets of women's and men's like main event championships. World Heavyweight, WWE, Women's World Championship, WWE. So obviously you got two Rumble winners and they're going to pick their specific champions, but then the other sets of champions will need a rival, right? So
Yeah.
do you feel like we're gonna get those championship matches at WrestleMania? Do you think like the other sets of champions are gonna be in WrestleMania?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
WrestleMania for sure. But at the Rumble though, I don't think so much. I don't know. Unless they're already on the card.
Like what do you think about like Michin or Meiko Satomura? What is Meiko Satomura? Is she in NXT still? UK? The one with the geisha kimono look. She was in NXT UK, I think. I don't even know
think
what's
she's
going on with
gone.
her.
I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like there are a bunch of women that you can possibly see. Nikita Lyons, I feel like I could win the Rumble.
Boo.
I feel like I feel like if there's somebody who can just make a debut on the main roster, I think Nikita Lyons is up there. But I think more realistically, Jade Cargill will make her big debut, win the Rumble, and
Throw Nikita Lyons.
basically attach a rocket to Jade Cargill. I think that's what's going to happen.
I see her making an appearance and making a big like a big eliminations, like making a bunch of them, but I don't see her winning it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And then she's going to be main rostered at that point. If you win the Rumble, you're going to the main show, and I don't know if she's necessarily like ready for that because she showed up and then they just automatically just took her off TV.
Yeah.
So I could see her winning and like pulling a cane and just throwing a bunch of people over for a while, and then like everyone gangs up on her and gets her out. But she made a good impact, and it's like okay, so like she's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
But not to win and then go for a title shot. No, not yet, at least.
I mean,
Personally.
I honestly think Jade Cargill has that X factor, and just like watching her videos and just the way she presents herself, and watching her stuff on AEW, I do think she has that X factor, and I think she can reach like Rhea Ripley levels or even higher. I honestly think she has that potential. So I hope for the best for her in the Women's Rumble. So the Men's Royal Rumble. We've been kind of talking about this, and we've been throwing around Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre as the winners. Do we have any other person who could potentially win the Rumble if we just had to shoot? If we had to throw out other names out there, who else can potentially main event WrestleMania?
I mean, you got Seth Rollins as champion, you have Roman Reigns as champion, so it would have
Right.
to.
So they're not in the Rumble.
Well, yeah, but
They're not in the Rumble.
you want
So-
to think about feud possibility, or like what would be the logical ish?
Oh, let me throw this other question out there, because I feel like WWE's like creative like planning and logic sometimes it's like super mixed. So you know how there's a fatal 4-way match with Randy Orton, AJ Styles, and LA Knight. Do you feel like they're going to be in the Rumble too? Like, do you feel
Yeah.
like are they going to main event with the Royal Rumble, or do you feel like they're going to have a match at the Royal Rumble, lose potentially, and then show up in the Royal Rumble and potentially win? Do you think that's a possibility?
Sure.
Yeah, I see. Oh, LA Knight's in the Rumble, right? Like that's guaranteed, right? Like he's in the Rumble itself.
I don't. That's not official. I know
No,
he's
just
in the
there.
Fatal 4-way match, but I don't think he's
Oh, I'm
declared
sorry.
for the
Okay.
Rumble.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. So
Wait, there's a-
that's the interesting thing, right? Is like, is he going to be in the Rumble? Because I feel like the rules for WWE has shifted from year to year about what's allowed and what isn't allowed, right? Like if
So-
you're in a championship match, you don't show up in the Rumble.
Actually,
But
there's something we're not accounting for either. Is that Priest still has his Money in the Bank briefcase, so he could totally cash
Right.
in at the Rumble
and,
too,
yeah,
and actually
and
do it.
They've been
'Cause he's
doing
like
that
0-5 or some shit.
consistently.
Yeah, he could totally do that, and I don't know. I don't see him doing it.
Be Undertaker.
The Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
Boo. The B is for boo.
So what about we talked about our favorites to win. We talked about surprise entrants. Who's getting eliminated first? Let's actually, you know what? Who's showing up first? Who's 1 and 2 in the Royal Rumble for men's and women's? Who's 1 and 2?
Damn.
Rey Mysterio.
Gunther.
Gunther, yeah.
Rey Mysterio and Gunther.
Ray's hurt.
All right.
You know, there was an interview that I think it was in the 2024 preview special this past week, as CM Punk talked about being first and how that wouldn't be a big issue for him. I think I could see him being number 1 or 2,
I can
and
see that.
potentially
Thrown
winning
over
it all.
third. Yeah.
Or third. I could see that. Yeah. So you guys think Rey Mysterio and Gunther? What about for the women? Who shows up at 1 and 2 spots? 1 and 2.
Bailey, number 1, and Asuka, number 2.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Asuka
Oscar
Belair.
could definitely be 1 too.
Do you feel like Trish Stratus will come back in the Rumble? Because I know she had her feud with Becky Lynch. Do you feel like that can be reignited for WrestleMania?
I think it's a surprise, like appearance, yes, but not to reignite the rivalry, just
Do
to
you
show
think
up
it'll-
and
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, because after she's gone, what's she gonna do? Rival her until WrestleMania? That's it.
Maybe.
Again?
What about Lita? Like she was in
Lita
a feud. She got like her ass kicked and whatever, and then they
Oh.
basically just told her, see you later. She was the women's tag team champions for like a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, just coming in on the hot tags.
Yeah, exactly. So I think if we go back to like surprise entrance, I think Lita will be there. But I think for 1 and 2, I can see Bailey, and I would like to see Becky Lynch. I think just like that history and just having them kind of survive the Royal Rumble, I think that'd be interesting. And regardless of if it's the men's Royal Rumble or the women's Royal Rumble, I think it has to be someone prominent. I don't think you can start off the Rumble with like 1 or 2 like jobbers or mid-carders. I don't think that's a great way to set the tone for
Yeah. You have to have an
the
A card.
Rumble. Yeah, I feel like that'll just add to the drama. So we talked about first people showing up. Who's getting eliminated first? Who's going over the top rope first?
JD McDonough.
JD McDonough. Yeah, I could see him getting sacked.
JD McDonough.
R-Truth.
Mm-hmm.
All of them is.
Curtis Axel still hasn't been eliminated.
That's right. Axelmania.
And Triple H is all about long-term storytelling, so I'd like for him to just like bring back those talking points. Like Michael Cole's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, it's true. He never got eliminated." That'd be amazing.
Hornswoggle.
Surprise entrance.
I hope Horns. Yeah, surprise entrant and first person getting eliminated.
Fastest elimination.
Kurt,
Yeah, fast
Curtis Axel. Yeah.
those are good ones. I don't know. I feel like first eliminations. I feel like I think it can't be a main event person. I don't think that's the first person who's going to be eliminated. But I feel like if you have one or two with main event stars like a CM Punk or I don't know. Well, like would Damian Priest be in the Royal Rumble? Like he's got the Money in the Bank
You still could be in the Rumble.
case.
Yeah, he's just.
So I guess like
lifelines.
I guess he'd be like I can challenge for it and then also
If I lose, I could just
cash it in.
in.
Does he only have until WrestleMania to cash it in, or does he have until Money in the Bank to
Got
cash
Money in the
it
Bank.
Okay, yeah. So I guess I could see that. So those kinds of people, I don't think they're going to get eliminated first. So I agree with like a JD McDonough getting eliminated first. Corbin. Honestly, Nia Jax is on a streak. Would she be eliminated first? Maybe for the shits, but like then I don't understand what the buildup was of her pinning Becky Lynch. You know, I feel like she can potentially. Well, that's the other thing. Io Sky's a heel, and Rhea Ripley's technically a heel. So where would you put her?
Both champions are heels.
Yeah, exactly. So you can't have Nia Jax as a heel face these other heels. Like it doesn't really make much sense.
I mean, you kind of could, right? I mean, it wouldn't be the first time there was two heels for the. Has it always been a face and heel? Has it always been that way?
Well, no, but I mean, I guess like when it came to like those kinds of feuds, like the people who were kind of heels or faces, they were still kind of like teetering on the edge of if they're a face or a heel. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like you're not like a straight up asshole and a straight up good person. Like if they
Like
had
neutral.
feuds, yeah, exactly. Like there was a lot of wiggle room where the crowd can, like for example, CM Punk, John Cena, for example, at Money in the Bank in Chicago. CM Punk's technically a heel, but he was the clear favorite in Chicago. You know what I mean? Like there's wiggle room there in terms of the character.
Tell me when
like,
I'm telling lies.
Yeah, tell me when I'm telling lies.
Right now.
So I think that you guys had a bunch of good predictions. First folks getting eliminated. We have a surprise entrance. We've talked about our favorites of winning. Are there any additional title matches at Royal Rumble? Is this the match card? Are we set? Do we have the Women's Royal Rumble, Men's Royal Rumble, Fatal 4-Way, WWE Championship match, and United States Championship match?
I'm sure they'll try to find a way to fit Gunther or at least Rollins in there.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, I think we have the 4 matches, but where do the other titles fit? And you can't obviously put all of them on the show because the Royal Rumble will take up a big chunk of the
2 Rumbles
premium live event.
Are they still at 30 entrants or did they increase it?
Yes. No, they're still at 30. I mean, the only time I think they've increased it was when they did the greatest Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia, and I think that was 40.
And the time Del Rio won.
Yes. Yeah. There was a Royal Rumble that wasn't in Saudi Arabia that was like 40.
And they let Del Rio win it.
And that was also stacked with surprise entrance. Like, oh, we got 40 people. Well, who should we bring back? I don't know. Rowdy Piper.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Del Rio can maybe be a surprise.
Yeah,
that would be a surprise.
I don't think he's going to ever get the job.
Yeah, I know. Probably not. No, he's probably donezo.
That wife beater.
Last time I seen a clip of Del Rio, he was in a gym that was like 20 deep. It's bad.
So we talked about surprise entrance, and we talked about like legends and gimmicky people to show up, but let's talk about like realistic, and this will be the final segment of the show, but let's talk about like realistic people who can potentially show up and jump ship to WWE. Do you think there are AEW wrestlers or independent wrestlers, people from TNA? We talked about Naomi. We talked about Mercedes, right? I don't think we mentioned them in our current conversation about the Royal Rumble. Who, from a realistic standpoint, can show up in the Royal Rumble and make an impact from the women's or the men's?
Naomi.
Naomi, yeah.
Kylie
Did you?
Ray.
Kylie Ray.
Yeah, she's been on main event a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. I think I think I will begrudgingly agreeing with folks saying that Mercedes is going to show up in AEW, but I would like for her to show up in the Royal Rumble. And when CM Punk did his promo, he mentioned AJ Lee. He said she sends her regards, and AJ Mendez had an Instagram post. She had like a series of videos, and one of them was her training with CM Punk doing the Hurricane Rana, her selfie of her with her fucking 6-pack abs. She looks fantastic.
Shredded.
Man, I think I feel like she's always been shredded, but I would love for her to just show up at the Royal Rumble and honestly show up the Rumble and then get thrust into the Women's Championship match. Because like that'd be so amazing to have CM Punk and her. And she could be on SmackDown. Fuck it. He could be on Raw. She could be on SmackDown, but they're just kind of like in the title picture in WWE feuding. She's only like what, 36, 37? She's like as old as Cody Rhodes. She has so much potential. And I know she was injured, but you know who else was injured? Edge. You know who else was injured? Saraya. You know who else was injured? Daniel Bryan. And they're all back and they're all doing matches and they're fine. And I think AJ Lee will be smart about it and WWE will be smart about it if she had the opportunity. So hopefully, I think AJ Lee will be in the Women's Royal Rumble.
I can see it. Totally.
And you know what? Yeah, you got two heel champions. AJ Lee, perfect opponent for one of them, right? She can win the Rumble, and then the other person who Rhea can be potentially feuding with, because like I don't know who can beat Rhea or Ripley right now, honestly. Ivy, Nile, I guess. I don't know. But that'd be
seemed like a
my
Jade
ideal.
Cargill thing.
Jade Cargill, absolutely, yeah.
And
So Jade Cargill for one, AJ Lee for the other person. There you go. WrestleMania main event set. I think that'd be amazing.
Boom.
Well, I think that wraps up our speculation, our talk about the Royal Rumble. We won't be back until right after the Royal Rumble. We'll be recording our next podcast the Sunday after Royal Rumble. We'll be talking about the fallout and the results of the Royal Rumble, our thoughts, where do we go from there, and our predictions for the Elimination Chamber and AEW's Revolution event, which will also be Sting's quote-unquote retirement match. You know how that works in wrestling. But I think that's going to be an interesting pay-per-view. And I think once the Royal Rumble ends, we will have a clearer picture of WrestleMania 40.
Except for Cody.
Except for Cody. Honestly, I think we'll still be a little confused about Cody Rhodes' place in the main event picture at WrestleMania 40. But with that...